Welcome to the What Happens Next YouTube channel. What we're aiming to do with this channel is share content designed to make sure that you're supported through whatever's next in your life. And we'd love to continue to do that. I've got a favour to ask today, and what I'd ask you to do is just subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it really helps us deliver really good quality content on a consistent basis. Thank you, and let's go on to the interview.
I think you were then asking, Chris, a little bit about some of the questions that I've been asking in my Substack 1000 Weeks. So just to give a bit of context to what this is. So I read a book about 2 years ago now called 4000 Weeks by a guy called Oliver Burkeman. And if you haven't read it, or anybody listening to this hasn't read it, I recommend it. It's a really interesting read. Excuse me. 4,000 weeks basically equals age 80, give or take. And Oliver Burkeman, who started off as like a productivity and time management guru and tried all the hacks to try to fit more into his life, I think suddenly realized that actually time is finite. We're all going to die. If we're lucky, we're going to make 4,000 weeks. Some will be longer, many will be less. What are we stressing about? Like, you're not going to be able to do everything. So be more intentional around the type of things you are doing. I've probably just totally bastardized what he wrote about, but that was what I took from it. And as I read it, I thought, gosh, that's fascinating. And then the real wake-up call for me was, and when you get to my age, you're only talking about 1,000 weeks. And by that, I mean, because I've had to explain this to a few people, I've just turned 60. And of that 1,000 weeks, it's likely that 500 or so, I'm going to be much less able than I am now. And I thank my lucky stars that I find myself fit and well and able at the present moment. So I kind of been trying to think what to do with my life. And I've tried a few different things, so I had a dabble with a fitness business with a friend of mine, which was a great business called Lady Bones, which was aimed at women approaching and post-menopausal, because we as women, our bones tend to get osteoporosis and stuff, and exercise is really good for you. It turns out that I'm not really qualified for that. Not surprisingly, after spending years in finance. And I've been doing some coaching. But then when I kind of stop and think about it, I've built up this whole host of expertise, dare I say, around the world of financial planning and talking to clients. I've heard clients for decades talking about some of the challenges they have as they move through life. So I suddenly thought to myself, can I combine the stage of life that I find myself at with what, if I'm going through it, there's probably other people going through this. Can I start something that could be helpful for other people that find themselves here? And so I decided to set up a business. Well, is it a business? At the moment, I own the website 1000 Weeks, but you won't find it anywhere because it's not live. And I was going to do a podcast called 1000 Weeks and interview lots of interesting people, which I may still do. But at the moment, I've just started writing a weekly blog. And the first one came out on my 60th birthday. And I was going to kind of like do I don't know whether it's a countdown or a count up, but I've kind of decided that could get a little bit confronting. So what I've just decided to do is to take a topic on a weekly basis and just write somewhere in the region of 500 to 1,000 words around the subject that I think is relevant and pertinent. Yeah. And I have either experienced, or I've seen other people experience, or I've heard friends talk about. And I just want to cause people to think and reflect, or think, oh, that's interesting. That's a good idea. I haven't thought of it that way before. And I've got a whole host of things that I would like to bring to people's attention around that. And there will be some money stuff sprinkled in with it. I'm no longer giving advice. I don't want to give advice, but there's lots of money related matters that are incredibly relevant, I think, as people go through this stage of life.
Yeah.
So 1000 Weeks is my weekly blog.